Dude, you're not playing to win. And sure, you can lie to yourself, wrap it up in all kinds of excuses, tell yourself you're expressing your skill, you're better than this guy, you're staying true to your character or some other noble sounding justification, but let's be real. Today, I want to talk about something I think every competitive player, whether you're into Digimon TCG, Tekken, literally anything in between, needs to hear. It's a bitter pill, but maybe one that'll finally get you unstuck. This is about scrub mentality for the most part. And yes, it might be about you. It's definitely me too. And before you click away thinking I'm just here to throw shade, listen, I know you've put in work, years maybe, grinding matches, practicing combos, repping your favorite deck, but tell me if this sounds familiar. You lose a match or a tournament, and your brain immediately reaches for excuses. No, fuck. My opponent grabs, and that's literally... I don't want to. I'm not getting up again.
Fuck, I'm trying it.
Well, I didn't net deck. They're just abusing top tiers. At least I didn't sweat over the best options possible like they did. Sound familiar? Because I hear this all the time. And it's usually coming from people who, well, they're not really playing to win. They're playing to feel like they deserve to win. I will never rage art. Oi. Oh, fuck. Let's break this down. There's a huge difference between playing to win and playing in a way that makes you feel good. Take Mirage Galgamon, for example. For my Digimon TCG crowd, a card that was undeniably strong, a little oppressive at the time even, taking up a huge share of the meta because it was able to abuse many of the fundamental strengths of the game. Now imagine this. A player starts consistently winning locals with Mirage. He knows the matchups, he understands tempo, he's piloting it like a machine. But instead of respect, he gets flack. Oh, you're just playing an easy deck. Of course you win. That's meta cheese. I could beat you if I wasn't using my Chad Gallimon build. And then the funny thing about that was the same people who were praising Gallimon's honorable choice suddenly stopped talking when it became meta. So why would a player make snide and just mean remarks about another player behind their back? Well, this is kind of the core mentality of the scrub mindset, the belief that the game should be played a certain way, based on unspoken, self-imposed rules that have nothing to do with actually winning.
And a corny combo coming up. Who can't do anything King could do in this game?
I gotta be honest with you, I'm gonna be using a couple of LowTierGod clips because honestly, he is probably the perfect example of somebody who has this scrub mentality. Everybody else but me is a piece of shit. In David Serlin's book, Playing to Win, the first archetype he talks about is the scrub. A scrub isn't just a beginner. A scrub is somebody who refuses to play outside of the rules they've made up in their own head. That tactic is cheap. Using that combo is unfair. He just spans the same thing. That's not real skill. Sound familiar? That's this like scrub mentality in this full display. And here's really the dangerous part of this whole thing. It's comforting. It's a shield, right? Like if you lose, it wasn't your fault. It was the game, right? Or the player, or the meta. You're not failing. You're just better than anybody else because you didn't lower yourself to their level, right?
Just threw me out of my own shit. Wonderful. And a million grabs around. Where's my throw break at? And I lost to someone else who sucks again. I'm not playing no kings ever again. I'm not doing no kings, no runbacks on Randers. Takes no brains to use those characters at all.
How you make Ryan Fury accessible to everybody that wants to play him? Like, it takes no skill in this game.
This is Reddit.
Hey, just wanted to jump in here and say, if you're enjoying the video so far, please give it a like. I love watching the big numbers go up, so especially while you're down there, hit the subscriber button as well. It means a lot to me that people enjoy the content that I watch, and I love watching the number go up. So, yeah. On with the video, really. So to break this down a lot more to its kind of absolute core of this very ancient sort of thing we used to call a scrub, because this is an old term back from the 2000s, and I hadn't used it in God knows how long. It was one of those things that, you know, just kind of fell under the rugs, and as much as I would see this often, even in myself, complaining about, it's so bullshit that my opponent was using grabs, or it's so bullshit that my opponent is playing Gilmon, Growlmon, X Rush, I'd forgotten what the term I would use for it is, right? I'd forgotten that we had a name for this. So to explain what a scrub is, basically, to me, it is this person who has created a little box for themselves. And they have made little rule sets, and without really realizing that they have prescribed to both themselves and the opponent. Say, for example, if you play Yu-Gi-Oh! And you have been playing Crystal Beasts for ages, but it's not quite meta. You're just losing because you're playing Crystal Beasts and you're just better than everybody. But your opponent has chosen to play Snake Eyes. What a fucking dickhead. Tekken, I know I've been absolutely terrible for specifically grabs. I'm not a fan of being grabbed because the rationale in my brain is always to comfort myself immediately. The reason I'm losing this match is because my opponent just grabbed me 5 times in a row and we had to watch an animation and that was really unfun. Or it's just an easy way to break through. Like, I can't block against it. You've grabbed me and thrown me to the ground and done a chunk of my health. How unskilled of you. But the reality is, I'm dog shit. I just let you grab me 5 times in a row. Like, should I not go to the practice tool in said game and start practicing against guard breaking or whatever it's called, right? Like, making sure that my opponent can never grab me again? Why would I instead make this self-prescribed rule of not only I'm not going to be grabbing my opponent to deal a big significant amount of damage to them, but they shouldn't do it to me? It's bullshit.
Let's put in the best parry of all time in a Tekken game. And that's what the Tekken 8 Rage Art is. It's the best reversal ever. It also happens to me. I press into someone and they Rage Art and I'm the one who feels like an idiot. If someone is just mashing Rage Arts on wake up every time and I eat it, is he really being the idiot or am I the idiot? And I certainly feel like an idiot when I've done 2 heat dashes. Oh, I'm gonna do my 50-50 now. Heat dash on block +5, and I try and mix up, and the player Rage Arts, and I'm like, oh shit. But I really feel dumb when it happens twice. That's when I'm like, okay, I'm so fucking stupid.
And herein lies the comfort of being a bit of a scrub, right? This is a way for you as a player to no longer engage with winning in a way that matters. This stops you from growing as a player because, for example, you've locked out playing with grabs. Or, to take it back to Digimon, you've decided, I'm not going to play a meta deck like Omnimon, which is one of the more recent decks that is extremely strong because that deck's just too strong. It just OTKs too quick. It's really hard to break through. I just think I wouldn't play a deck like that because it's cringe. And I'm not cringe. Now, I understand that you can fall victim to this without realizing. But if you wanted to truly play to win, you have to hone all of your skills meticulously, all of your abilities, use the absolute best decks, best characters, and most broken strategies that are available to you. Winners don't get by just playing Digimon Turbo, except me. So maybe to help you break free from this spell of trying to comfort yourself and not actually play to win. And to clarify, all of this comes from the basis that you want to play to win. You don't want to be losing locals. What's the point of spending $10 to $15 just to go 0-3 and then go home? And also to clarify off the back of that, if you just want to play a game for fun, that is so all goods. Like, I will play a dog shit trash ass deck just to have fun. That's a completely different subject, and I just want to clarify that for you. So the question I really want to ask you is, what is skill expression? Because if your definition only includes doing cool stuff with low tier characters or sticking to your guns, then you've misunderstood what competition is even about. Skill expression is about solving problems under pressure, with intention, and with tools that work. If somebody is outplaying you with a top tier deck, that doesn't negate their skill. In fact, choosing the optimal deck is part of the skill. Top players win because they understand the game systems. They aren't shackled by pride or aesthetics. They pick what wins, they adapt. That is a form of skill expression. And I want to clarify, that's a big part of this, is pride. A lot of what happens is, and again, this is a big part for me that I find often I'm having a really hard time understanding, why I'm not winning or choosing to comfort myself with these sort of aesthetics of, my way of winning is better than yours, is that I'm prideful about the way that I have been winning. I have believed that I am a better player than many other players, but that leads me to play things that are shit and then win with them, and then I get to pridefully say, damn, I'm the best, when realistically I should be turning around, playing the best, winning with the best, and not handicapping myself. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about this mindset of, playing to win, making sure that you will be absolutely stomping your opponents because you have chosen things that are the best. You have fundamentally made sure that you are playing at your absolute best, that no matter the losses that you take, you cannot take those away from your opponents. You can only serve to move forward and learn from your own mistakes. So let's flip the coin a little bit here. What if it's the game that's flawed? Currently, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is having a fun time with their end-of-match proceedings being changed.
What's to prevent the opponent from going, I don't intend to concede, and expecting you to infer this from that? You don't even have to be familiar with this situation for a declaration that I don't intend to concede to have this effect on you, to change the range of what your outcomes can be. What are you going to call a judge and be like, they're not conceding even though I'm way ahead?
A pretty good example of having to abuse shitty systems to get wins, wherein it may actually be more favorable to concede and take a loss for tiebreaker percentages than it is to go to time and cop a double loss.
I would ask why they aren't conceding. I understand you're a judge. There is not a rules-based mechanism that can force a player to concede. You know that. You can't be like, hey, you're down, you have to concede here. There's no way that you can make someone concede while they are still playing. Then I would argue the majority of players are not going to understand the difference between tiebreakers and a double loss and them conceding. So if the opponent isn't telling them that's what's happening, they aren't going to concede either. If you are at the final round of a YCS in the go round for top cut, you are probably a player who knows the statistics of this thing and is playing rationally. Yes, this will not work against stupid people playing poorly. But against the best players, this is a move that you will see employed. Like, certainly I hope it is not the case that our backstop to this disastrous policy is maybe people won't know how it works. And in that case, I would say, this is why I say this video is really dangerous. It's educating people who otherwise wouldn't know this is how it works.
This is an example of playing to win discussions being hinged on something that is ultimately, quite frankly, super cringe. So if there is something degenerate or unbalanced with the game, then your job as somebody who is playing to win is to exploit that system better than anybody else until it gets patched, banned, or limited, restricted, whatever you want to call it at this point. Because if you're playing to win, you can criticize the game, but you have to be utilizing every single tool that it gives you. Because criticizing instead of adapting isn't the flex that you think it is. Meta awareness, matchup knowledge, optimization, these are all things that are part of the game. And denying yourself access to those tools on principle, that's not skill expression. That's your ego. So if you've made it this far, ask yourself, are you playing to win, or are you just playing to feel like a winner? Because if you really wanted to win, you'd do what it takes. You'd play the best deck, you'd learn the matchups, you'd grind the reps, you'd stop coping with fantasy rules that nobody else agreed to. And hey, if you're okay with playing for fun or self-expression or just good vibes, that's fine too. Just don't pretend you're being robbed by those who are trying to play to win. Because until you drop the pride, until you stop handicapping yourself with made-up rules, until you embrace the ugly truth of competitive play, you ain't playing to win, you're just playing yourself. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this one and you're into competitive mindset breakdowns, game theory, or just a good old-fashioned call-out, stick around. Hopefully I've got more coming.